Welcome back to a world of magic and wonder. Here, every story casts a spell, bringing the Harry Potter universe to life in new and exciting ways. Grab your wand and let's dive into today's magical tale, Ashes of the Divide. Written by Elenora, read by Elenora. Enjoy the magic! The astronomy tower stood like a sentinel against the dark sky, the cold night air swirling around its silent stones. Harry Potter leaned on the edge of the balustrade, his breath fogging the glass of his cracked spectacles. He wasn't supposed to be out here, not with the curfew in place, not with the looming threat of Death Eater spies within Hogwarts walls, but the common room felt stifling. The weight of the Horcrux hunt, of being the chosen one, sat heavy on his shoulders. He needed air. Behind him, footsteps broke the silence. Harry stiffened, hand darting to his wand, his heart leaping into his throat. "Relax, Potter," came a familiar drawl, sharp but quieter than usual. Harry spun around, wand raised. The figure before him was pale, the moonlight casting sharp shadows across his aristocratic features. Draco Malfoy. "What are you doing here, Malfoy?" Harry hissed. His voice was low, but his hand trembled slightly on his wand. Draco rolled his eyes, though his posture wasn't as confident as usual. He glanced over his shoulder, as though expecting someone to burst in at any moment. "If I wanted to curse you, Potter, I wouldn't have announced myself." "Relax." Harry didn't lower his wand. "Why are you here?" Draco hesitated, his jaw tightening. He ran a hand through his platinum hair before crossing his arms, a defensive posture. "Escaping," he muttered almost too quietly to hear. Harry narrowed his eyes. "Escaping what?" Draco's laugh was hollow, bitter. "What do you think? My father. My house. My life." He moved to the railing, his back to Harry, hands gripping the cold stone tightly. "Not that you'd understand." "Try me," Harry said, surprising himself with the softness of his tone. Draco looked over his shoulder, his gray eyes flashing with anger and something else. "Do you know what it's like to have your choices made for you? To have every move you make watched, judged? I'm supposed to be the perfect little Malfoy? A Death Eater. A soldier in a war I didn't sign up for." Harry's brow furrowed as he lowered his wand. He'd always thought of Draco as arrogant, entitled, a willing puppet of Voldemort. But this was something else. "You could choose," Harry said, taking a step closer. Draco laughed again, shaking his head. "You don't get it, do you? There is no choice." "Not for me. If I don't follow his orders, he'll kill my mother. Maybe even me. Or worse." His voice dropped to a whisper. "He'll make me kill her myself." For a moment, Harry was silent, the words sinking in. He'd always thought Draco had it easy. Money, power, a family name people feared. But now, all he saw was someone trapped. "Then why come here? Why tell me this?" Draco turned, his face pale but resolute. "Because I needed someone to know. And because I'm tired of hiding." In the weeks that followed, Harry found himself thinking about Draco more than he liked to admit. Their paths seemed to cross more often. Furtive glances in the Great Hall, a brief brush of hands in the crowded corridors, whispered conversations in the library under the pretense of research. It wasn't just curiosity that kept Harry coming back. It was the vulnerability he saw in Draco, the cracks in his carefully constructed armor.
One evening, Harry entered the room of requirement to find Draco pacing furiously.
His face was pale, his hair disheveled in a way that made him look more human, less polished. "You shouldn't be here," Draco snapped, though there was no real venom in his tone. Harry closed the door behind him. "Neither should you." Draco stopped pacing, his hands clenching into fists. "If anyone finds out—" "They won't," Harry interrupted. "And even if they did, I'd take the blame." Draco froze, his gray eyes widening. Slowly, he turned to Harry, his voice trembling. "Why would you do that?" Harry shrugged, though his heart was pounding. "Because I think you're better than this. Better than him." Draco opened his mouth to retort but closed it again, his shoulders sagging. For the first time, the mask dropped entirely. He looked at Harry with an expression so raw, it took Harry's breath away. Their first kiss happened in the shadows of the castle, hidden from prying eye. It wasn't planned. Harry had found Draco sitting alone in the dungeons, his head in his hands. Draco? Draco looked up, his gray eyes red, rimmed. Go away, Potter. No, Harry said, stepping closer. What happened? What happened? Draco let out a bitter laugh, his hands curling into fists. What always happens? My father. He thinks I'm weak. Useless. He looked up at Harry, his voice breaking. He's right. Harry crouched in front of him, his hand resting on Draco's knee. He's wrong. Draco stared at him, his expression unreadable. Before either of them could think, Harry leaned forward. Their lips met, tentative and brief, but it left them both breathless. Draco's father had begun to suspect something. Lucius Malfoy was too clever not to notice the way his son had changed, the way he slipped away more often, the way his resolve seemed to falter when Voldemort's plans were discussed. One evening, Draco found Harry in the room of requirement, his face pale with fear. He knows, Draco said, his voice barely above a whisper. Harry frowned. Knows what? About us? Draco replied, his hands trembling. He'll come for you, Harry. He'll kill you. Or worse. Harry's jaw tightened. Let him come. You don't understand, Draco snapped, his voice cracking. He'll hurt you, and he'll make me watch. Or he'll make me choose. Harry stepped forward, gripping Draco's arms. Then don't let him. Choose me, Draco. The final confrontation came during a Death Eater raid on Hogwarts. Chaos erupted in the Great Hall as students and staff fought to defend the school. Draco stood at his father's side, his wand trembling in his hand. Across the hall, Harry locked eyes with him, his own wand raised. Lucius sneered. Prove yourself, Draco. Kill him. Draco's hands shook as he raised his wand. His father's voice was a distant roar in his ears. All he could see was Harry, his green eyes fierce, unyielding. I can't, Draco whispered. Lucius turned on him, his face twisted with fury. You pathetic coward. Draco didn't let him finish. His wand turned, and with a flash of light, his father crumpled to the ground. After the battle, Draco found Harry in the ruins of the Great Hall. You could have killed me, Harry said softly. Draco's gaze was steady, though his voice trembled. I couldn't let him take you. I couldn't let him take us. Harry stepped closer, his hand brushing against Draco's. You made your choice. Draco nodded. For once, it was mine. They stood together amidst the rubble, the war behind them and an uncertain future ahead. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. If you'd like to support the channel, check out my Amazon wishlist or consider making a donation. Every little bit helps to keep the magic alive. See you next time, and until then, take care and keep dreaming.